Hi all. Here is a video on 200-hour YTT study guide. This is your final exam. You should have it in your binders. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages long. Now, some of this material we may not have covered already. Most of it we have. I want to go through a few things on this to answer any questions. And I'm just going to pour through. I will be doing individual videos on each one of these to add to the Teachable Forum for online learning. Anyway, because I'm going to take this entire 200-hour program online eventually, but we have been blessed enough to have met for contact hours. So here we go. So you don't necessarily need all of those. Number 1, list the 7 energetic dynamics of the circle and describe each. Please do not write that rotely from your book, from your manual. Please consider the importance of the energetic dynamics. The energetic dynamics relate to the container that we create, right? This is how we work with groups. And 2 people, one-on-one, is a group. It's a small group. Whether you're working with just one person or a large group of people for classes or smaller groups, it's good to understand what these energetic dynamics relate to. 5 blocks to listening. Number 2, list 5 blocks of listening that you resonate with and describe. Right now, this is self-reflective. Those are also in your manual. List the 9 main press points that we work with from the ground up. Please list them from the ground up. Remember the feet, soles of the feet, the hips, the hip bones, so the outer hips, and then the bones, the hip bones, the core squeeze, the tailbone, and the sit bones, the chest points. If you bring your arms out like this and bring your thumbs in, chest points, your wings, and crown of the head. There, I answered it for you. That's in section 2 of your manual. List the main components of the anatomy of a class. That's from a printout. I'm going to star that here on my list to make sure you all have that printout. But what are the main considerations when you're going to teach a class? What are the main lines of the body, right? And that's in your binder under your clinic section. So what are the main lines of the body? This is what we use for sequencing, the superficial line. We want to warm up the superficial front line and the superficial back line to get to the deep front line of the body. We have side lines and spiral lines and functional lines, etc. To refer to those printouts in your binder and give some thought to why, this study guide should synthesize everything you have been learning and more. What is a pinnacle pose, right? You know what that is. What's the difference between a contraindication and a physical limitation? Contraindication is, this is contraindicated if. Contra means don't do, right? It's against what our body needs. Physical limitation is the limitation in the body. So if I have had recent shoulder surgery, then downward dog would be contraindicated for me, right? 2 main considerations for menstruation in regards to asana practice. That's in section 2 of your manual. What is your favorite muscle and why? That's one of Larissa's questions. What's your favorite muscle in the body and why? That's just a fun question, right? When the hamstring muscles are concentrically contracted, what muscles are eccentrically contracted? Refer to the key muscles of yoga, the Ray Long anatomy book. Okay, look up those terms and see if you can figure that out. True or false, the plank is an open chain movement. That will be found in your Ray Long anatomy book. 3 external rotators of the hip, same thing. Ray Long, key muscles of yoga anatomy book. What are the sits muscles? There you go. Look that up in the same place. See the following chart, and this is number 15. List 1 posture that can help and 1 posture that's contraindicated for each of the following conditions, as well as one precaution. This is where people tend to have questions. Do your best. For instance, high blood pressure. What is a pose that is helpful for high blood pressure? What is a pose that is harmful for high blood pressure? And what is a precaution? Like, what pose could you do, but you want to be cautious if you have high blood pressure? So most of the questions come in this precaution category, meaning how do we answer this? Head injury, what is helpful for it? What is harmful for it? And what could you do, but you want to be cautious? What pose do you want to enlist precautions for if you have a head injury? Okay, and on. Some of these will be same answers, repeat answers. Some of them are a little bit more challenging than others. Please do your best. This will help you to do some research, kind of really think about some of these. These are some fairly common conditions that people will bring to you. So that's why this list is here. So you can start to research. You don't have to be a nurse or a doctor, but you are a yoga instructor. So you want to start to, I want you to be exposed to this before you're teaching and students walk up to you and say, I just had eye surgery. What should I do or not do? Some of these are common sense. See the following list of Sanskrit terms and comprise root words for specific asana. That comprise root words for specific asana. Please define each word and suggest a pose you might find this root word within. Asana is super easy. You can pick any Sanskrit pose like Tadasana, right? So the meaning of asana, pose, it says asana in Sanskrit right here. You would write the name of a pose in Sanskrit in this middle column that uses this root word in it, like Tadasana or any other asana. And then the full asana translation. So Tada means mountain, asana means pose. Okay, so asana, the meaning is pose. One suggestion of an asana in Sanskrit is Tadasana, and the full meaning of that is Tada equals mountain, asana means pose. Go all the way through. Have fun with this list. The last one, Yandra, cross it out. Don't worry about the last one. I think that that's a typo. Okay. And then moving on through the rest of these questions. What is yoga? What is yoga to you? What is adhikara? If you can't remember, look that up. Why is it important to maintain adhikara as a yoga instructor? List the limbs of the Eightfold Path. List the yamas and a brief description of each in your own words. Please list the niyamas with a brief description of each in your own words. What is witness consciousness? What is tapas? What is karma? Look into your manual for these, right? How do we change our karma? All of these answers are based on what we have learned in this program, what's in your manual, and what we have discussed in person. Please define these Sanskrit words. And there's a whole list of words here. If they're new to you, look them up. It's okay. These are just good words for you to know. And then the last section of this is on who wrote the Bhagavad Gita. What is the name of the book it is a part of? If you can't remember, look it up. Google it, research. This is covered more in philosophy. Why do you think it's important as a yoga instructor to have read the Bhagavad Gita? Why, as a student of yoga, is it important to study the Bhagavad Gita? So there's not necessarily wrong answers to number 30 and 31. It's really like, what is your interpretation of that? What would you say the central lesson is of the Bhagavad Gita? And what are the three yogas Krishna teaches? In Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, what is Sutra 1.1? Look in the Chip Hartranft variation or any translation of the Yoga Sutras that you have, and look to Sutra 1.1, the very first sutra. What is it? And why is it so significant? Please list the main ethical considerations of a yoga instructor in your own words. Now, I have to check if everybody has received the personal or professional ethics of a yoga instructor printout. It looks like this, and it would be in your binder. It's the page that you can't even really tell, right? But it kind of looks like that. There are bullet points here. I'll do a separate, I'll post this to our group, and I'll do a separate talk on that one. But if you never had that and you had to like sit there and think about it, what do you think are really important to the ethics? I think we did go over this. What are important professional considerations? Please attach your finished yoga instructor bio. So your bio, if you are in the Teachable forum, you can find, I believe that's loaded, and I also printed it out for some groups. Just some tips on how to write a professional bio, and finding that like what's the purpose behind writing the bio, your voice, like who is your target audience, and how do you want your voice to come across as more professional or more relaxed, more clinical, or first person or third person. Your name, you want to state early on your credentials prior to writing your bio. Make a list of all your credentials, your education, not just in yoga, but all your certifications, your education, and your trainings, and any areas of study or apprenticeship that you've gone through in your life. Your career, your interests. You can humanize by writing what are your like top 3 main interests. You can add that toward the end of your bio. Your contact information, where people can find you, what is your preferred method of contact, and your story, how you tell your story through your bio should be clear and easy to understand. But this recipe is your own concoction. How much professionalism versus personality that you include is up to you. So have fun with it, and know that as you evolve and gain skills, your bio will also evolve and change. So make sure that if you do not already have that in your binder, that I post that to our group. So as part of this final exam, you want to attach your bio. That forces you to write it, and it's fabulous. What have you gained from this yoga teacher training so far, right? Or toward the end of it, what have you gained? And what do you hope to impart as a yoga teacher? There are really no questions on here you can't answer now that I've gone through this. But if I haven't touched on any questions you might have, I'll post some, and I'll help you the best that I can. All right. Once you have your guide done, it's not due until June. For those of you in the Laconia YTT, we were aiming to try and finish by early May, right? End of April, early May. So you've been added to this group, and you're kind of going tandem with Tadaro. And then we also had discussed, taking our time and moving that date out and not compressing it quite so much. So we're all now in this together. We're all doing this together, so we can all be looking at these places. All right. Let me know what you need from me, and otherwise be on the lookout for more videos.